I had a thing with my pediatrician. When my daughter was born, she was 6 pounds, 7 ounces. So she wasn't like small, but she was like kind of like on the verge of average. And as she grew up and everything, she was a pretty good, healthy weight, and she was fine, you know. But then the last appointment that I took her to, first of all, prior to that appointment, she had gotten a virus from her cousins. I don't know if you guys remember the video when I was telling you that she was like going to the bathroom constantly. If she wasn't having diarrhea, then she was vomiting every single thing that I even tried to give her. It got to a point that all she was drinking was just the Pediasure. Not Pediasure, the Pedialyte. And Pedialyte really is not going to put any weight on you whatsoever. All it's really going to do is just keep you hydrated, which is the whole point of what they want to do at that time. So she had ended up losing about, it had to be maybe 2 pounds or maybe 3 within that whole entire week, because she just would not eat anything. Not that she didn't want to, she really did, and she was crying for the food, but every time I would give her something, she would end up throwing up. So she just was like, you know, it was difficult. So I think 2 weeks later, I had to go to the doctor's appointment, and I went over there, and she, you know, measured her and took her weight and everything like that. And she came to me, and she was just like, well, you know, she weighs such and such right now. And I said, yes, I know that. Obviously, I was there when they weighed her. And she was like, oh, you know, she's lost some weight. And I said, well, yes, you know, she just went through having a virus. And the thing is, of course, she lost the weight, so I'm not surprised that she has lost weight. And she was telling me, well, you know, what is it that you feed her, and what is it that you give her? And I ran down a list of everything that she eats at my house, everything that she eats at her father's house, everything she eats at the babysitter's house or my parents' house, everything, my sister's house. And she was like, okay. She walked out the room, and then she came back at least 2 or 3 more times and drilled me on the same damn question. But now I'm getting pissed, because I'm thinking, you know, is this lady thinking that I'm lying or something? Like, why does she keep asking me the same freaking questions? Because obviously my answer is not going to change. I'm not going to slip up and, you know, say, oh, I don't do this or I did do this, and she's going to be like, aha, I caught you, because it's not going to change. So she comes back and she gives her vaccinations and everything and whatnot, and she goes and she tells me, well, you know, she's really lost some weight, and she should be way more than she is right now. So I need you to give her vitamins, which I had already started doing like 3 months prior to. And she was like, and I need you to give her at least 3 8-ounce bottles of milk a day, you know, in addition to whatever she may eat, which I was already doing to begin with. So whatever she was telling me, I'm thinking to myself, did she not listen to what I was telling her when she drilled me like 4 times that I was already giving her the milk, she was already taking her vitamins and everything? So I was just like, yeah, okay. So now I walk out of there and I'm pissed, because I'm thinking, you know, I already told this lady all these answers. I wasn't lying about a single damn thing, and she tells me to do exactly what I've been doing before, which doesn't really help me. Like, if you're trying to tell me that my child is underweight, then we need to try, you know, find a different tactic, not the same damn thing that I've been doing. You need to tell me, well, give her this or give her that, or this food is, you know, better to help her gain some weight or whatever. And she just really just told me exactly what I was doing, which didn't really help me out much. And she did something else later on that I was kind of pissed off at, but I'm not even going to put it out there. But basically, you know, I'm changing pediatricians, period. So she's telling me, well, you know, her next appointment, she needs to be like within this such and such weight range. I'm thinking, okay. Now, every child is different, you know, and she really did not look at the scale that obviously the CDC provides that goes with the height and the weight. I looked it up later on when I got home, and she does fall within a certain percentage. And as far as the height is normal, but for her weight, it's a little bit under, which is fine, because as far as I was concerned, like I said, she was sick and she had lost some weight, because prior to that, she was just fine. Another thing that I find that sometimes people don't take into account is genetics. Because seriously, when I was her age, based on what my parents told me, the pictures that I saw, I was not that tall. I'm not tall now anyway. And my weight was substantially lower than hers. But that was the point, because I was very, very sick. And even when I wasn't sick, I was still underweight, but my height was normal. So as far as I'm concerned, she could be taking that part of my genetics from me. When I speak to her grandmother from her father's side, she says the same thing, that she had her two boys. They were like, what, maybe 10 or 11 months apart. And the second child just took off. He ate, he gained weight, he did whatever. She said, but in his case, it took him a little bit of while to be able to gain the weight where he's supposed to be. So now if you have those two factors, you have the father that had a weight issue and the mother that had a weight issue, then I'm not too surprised that the child would have a weight issue. My thing is more that, does she look healthy? Because if you say, oh, she has a weight issue, my first thought is, okay, so you probably think that she's malnutrition, or maybe I'm not feeding her in a way that I'm abusing her by not giving her food. That's my first train of thought. You know, granted, that may not be what she might have been saying, but that's my automatic first thought, is that she's trying to say that my child is malnutrition, and that therefore I'm not feeding my child what she needs. Like, I'm just sitting here giving her candy and chocolate and stuff and not really giving her the right proper nutritions. And she checked the labs, and every single part of the labs were completely normal. So obviously she's getting the nutritions and the vitamins and everything that she needs for her growing body. With her, and I'm pretty sure there are other kids out there also, there are days when she stuffs her face like there's no tomorrow. And then it could be the very next day where she's just like, she'll take her little 3 bottles and maybe like 2 pieces of chicken, and that's enough, and she'll call it a day. So she can be picky when she wants to be, and there are days when it doesn't matter what it is. She'll just stuff it down her face. She just is not gaining weight. Like, I've talked to a dietitian, nutritionist at my job, and she was giving me a bunch of recommendations and things that I could be giving her. And I've given it to her, and she gained about a pound based on the recommendations. And that was about it. And then all of a sudden, her weight gain from all the recommendations that she gave me just kind of slowed up, and it wasn't exactly the same like it was. Because when I first started giving her the recommendations, you know, she was picking up the weight, but then after that, all of a sudden it just slowed down to how it was before. Would I say that she's skinny? I would not say that she's skinny. If you look at her, she obviously has some meat on her bones. When you pick her up, you obviously feel that she does have some weight on her body. It's just that when you put her on a scale, the weight that she should be on average is not exactly where it should be for her height. And that's another little thing that I have when it comes to this whole, you know, average scale thing. You know, they want your child to be average. Obviously, there are some kids who are going to fall through the crack, and they're not going to fall into the average scale. They're going to fall a little bit under, but they're still healthy. And my thing is that at no point did she even bother to let me know, like, you know, it's just her weight. Not to say that she's unhealthy or that she's malnutritioned or anything. It's just that she needs to put on more weight. So I just walked away with a very horrible thought that, you know, my child is unhealthy. And as much as everybody around me who I told this to, they're like, no, she's healthy, she's fine. It's just that she just wants her to put on, you know, some weight. Granted, they're telling me that, and they're trying to reassure me that she's fine. Sometimes when your doctor says it, you feel a little bit better. You feel some relief. Even though with my medical background, and I can look at her and I can see that she's all right for her height and for her weight and the proportion and everything, she's fine. But, you know, and when I look at her pictures from when she was a little bit younger, she was a pretty chubby baby, but now she's just like filling out. And the thing is, I don't want it to be that I make her gain so much weight that it's too much for her height. The thing is, she needs to gain the weight, but she also needs to gain the height so that it can average itself out. And really, I want to see what you guys have, what opinions you guys have as far as what are some other things, other foods, other things that I can do that would be able to help her pick up some weight. Now, I don't want, you know, oh, feed her French fries and McDonald's and stuff like that. I want her to put on healthy weight, not, you know, fattening weight, but just to build her up a little bit bigger, but in a healthy manner, not with fast food and junk food and things like that. Granted, I know those will help her put on weight real quick, but at the same time, then you have a problem that you're facing with obesity, and now you have to try to make your child lose weight. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to put on some weight on her. I'm looking for about half a pound a week. That way I know that every month she puts on about 2 pounds, and that's very normal and that's fine. If it can be a pound a week, that way I can kind of, you know, hurry up and push her towards where her weight should be, and then I would just from there just start cutting everything down in half and go back to half a pound a week. That'll be fine also. So if anyone has any suggestions, if you're a dietitian or a nutritionist, or definitely if you're a pediatrician out there and you have any kind of suggestions whatsoever, let me know. If there's any other medications as far as vitamins that you think that I could possibly give her to help her out, maybe to help pick up her appetite, definitely also let me know.